21st Century Radio is sponsored by Hieronymus and Company. This is Talk Radio 680 WCBM. It's time now for award-winning 21st Century Radio. Here's your host, Dr. Bob Hieronymus.
It was the place to come to. It was not just a rock and roll show. It was not just about the music. It was really about that decade and that culture.
Welcome back to 21st Century Radio. That was Michael Lang, one of the organizers of the original Woodstock, talking about its true meaning on a film called Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock. And my bus appeared in that video, followed by a famous piece called Freedom and Richie Havens from that same festival. There he goes. Welcome back to 21st Century Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Bob Hieronymus. Our executive producer and research assistants, Laura Cordner, and our engineer is Anita Brockington. This is part one of our 21st Century Radio salute to 50th anniversary of the original Peace and Love Festival. Next month, we are headed back to the Gardens, so to speak, as we will be participating in the events happening at the Bethel Woods Performing Arts Center in New York with our recreated light, the Woodstock bus. But before we introduce our first guest, Woodstock veteran Graham Nash, I want to pause here and dedicate this show to my wife and partner, Dr. Queen Zahara Meyerhoff Hieronymus. You will hear us talking a bit later about the recreation of my light VW bus, also known as the Woodstock bus. Recreating this duplicate of the Woodstock bus over the past 3 years has been a very costly procedure, and I never could have done it without the moral support and staunch advocacy of Dr. Queen Zahara. Although we raised $90,000 with the first Kickstarter campaign, even that amount was far from enough to do the job. You have to realize that a vintage VW costs around $30,000 to begin with, usually $50,000. Then you need another $50,000 at least to restore it to working order and get it ready for painting. God bless Zahara for arranging to secure us tens of thousands of additional dollars so we could pay a living wage to the team of artists who helped us recreate the designs on the bus. Zoe and I insisted we pay each of our artists a minimum of $20 an hour, which is more than what the budget called for. And as a matter of fact, I'm going to skip that. Zoe's intuitive advice warned us of the problems we could face in completing the project. She also is one who located the garage/barn studio where we could safely store and complete the artwork of the bus. She was the de facto mother figure to the artist team, encouraging them along the way and working through their initial skepticism that we could create a truly magic bus under enormous deadline pressure. Zahara stood by me and the artists whenever we hit opposition to completing this project, and I will forever be grateful to her for inspiring me to do this project and seeing it through. I love you, honey. Now, with the show, our first guest this hour is Grammy-award-winner and two-time inductee to Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, Graham Nash. Graham Nash has joined us several times before on 21st Century Radio, and we were delighted to have him return. We caught up with him most recently after his performance here in Baltimore, where he shared stories. Welcome again back to 21st Century Radio, Graham Nash.
Thank you very much, Bob.
My whole family enjoyed the concert you gave in Owings Mills, Maryland on March 12th at the fabulous Gordon Center for Performing Arts.
Thank you very much. It was a nice evening of music.
Oh, it was fabulous. With your abilities, you probably have had greater ones, but I'll tell you, the people just loved you. You were so kind to them, Graham. And that...
That's because I'm a normal person.
Yeah.
I mean, I know I do something special with my time, but I'm an ordinary person, and I want to be treated the way that I treat people, and I treat people with respect.
You certainly do. You certainly do. I was very moved by the essay on your website called We Are Better Than This, talking about socially active musicians like yourself, raising money and awareness. What is your advice for others on how to give back to the community?
I think you have to believe in yourself. I think you have to take care to treat people with respect. I think I think one must continue to fight things that you don't agree with. I mean, it's one of the reasons why I was so happy to become an American citizen over 40 years ago. I wanted to be a part of this country. I wanted to criticize this country, but whilst being a part of it. I didn't want to not be a part of this country and then criticize it. That doesn't make any sense to me. So I wanted to vote. I wanted to be a part of this country, and I still do. And here I am talking to you.
Yeah, well, you also wrote about how social movements are much more partisan than they used to be. What do you mean by that?
It seems to me that, particularly during this Trump administration, the dividing line between people has become much more visible. You know, they keep saying that, that liberals are all the way off to the left and that, the Republicans are all the way off to the right. And we're clinging to positions that only want to really maintain power. That's the first thing the politicians want to do. They want to get reelected. They still want that power that they have. And I think that if we look into our hearts, we know what is right. We know what is wrong. Life is made up of millions of choices from the moment you wake up, which way to get out of bed, which way to go to the bathroom, millions and millions of choices. And we have to make the correct choices. And I think that if we delve into people and find out more about how they vote and how what influences them, I think that's one of the ways that we can start to fight back against what's happening today.
Indeed, of course. Never stop. I always felt you just never stop. Many of my ideas and with murals and things of that nature were absolutely opposed by the highest people at Hopkins, and yet when they got to understand what the meaning of them was, they changed radically, and I'm really happy about that. That's why I learned, just keep at it, regardless of what people say.
Yes, got to keep at it.
What are the parallels between today's protests and those of the 60s when you wrote the classic anthem, Teach Your Children? I noticed how you also inserted the name Trump instead of Nixon on at least 2 songs at the concert.
That's true, because we have to deal with what we're dealing with today in this, and you're absolutely right when you said before, as one of the lead phrases from the article, we absolutely deserve better than this administration.
Yeah, absolutely.
This administration is putting America on the road, all right, but it's going backwards, not forwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I always want to move forwards. There's nothing much you can do about the past.
Well, I want to go back to Teach Your Children Well, a prophetic song about the essentials of making a better world. What do we need to learn from our children?
You will have noticed at the concert that I started talking about me wanting to bring my song Teach Your Children up to in today's insanity. And what I did was I asked my manager, Mark Spector, who also manages Joan Baez, and he had a friend, Jeff Scher, who was an artist. And Jeff created 2,200 drawings for an animated version to accompany my song Teach Your Children. And it's available on YouTube right now.
Yeah, but also on your merchandise table, I bought 2 books. Now, I love this gorgeous picture book, Our House, designed by Hugh Syme. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. But my wife...
that's his name, Hugh Syme, yes.
My wife already stole it from me, and that's the reason. I should have gotten 2. There's no 2 ways about it, but I chinced, and I'm paying to pay it now. But
it's a beautiful book for children, yes.
And I know we're running out of time, so I'm going to skip that. Have you seen my painted bus, the VW Light bus, that we just finished recreating?
I have, and I love that phrase on it, the power of silence.
Oh, the power of silence, and we got AUM and ALM on it, and it's covered with esoteric symbolism in honor of the 50th anniversary of Woodstock. Are you performing or planning to perform on any of the Woodstocks this year?
No.
No? Okay.
No. I competing Woodstocks, I don't think so.
Now, could you tell us from your unique perspective what might be the spiritual meaning of Woodstock? I'm not talking about what happened at the festival itself, but what it has come to symbolize in our culture.
I believe that it symbolizes what the hippies believed in. They believed in taking care of your brother, in taking care of your sister, in taking care of your friends. You know, that love is better than hatred. That peace is absolutely better than war.
Absolutely.
I mean, those what were considered silly hippie ideals are actually incredibly profound to me. And, you know, I love people that have the same sensibilities.
Yeah.
I still believe that love is better than hatred. I still believe that peace is better than war. And I will believe it until I'm dead.
Well, you not only believe it, you live it. And that's what's helped so many of us to hear
you have to try your best, you know.
Yes, you know, give your best shot all the time.
But I'm mainly inside my own head, my own heart. We're all alone, of course, you know. We're all alone in here. So I try and do my best with what life I have left. I'm now, 77. I'm still incredibly creative. I'm still doing very good shows. I'm still being appreciated by people that like this kind of music. And I'm just having the best time I can with whatever time I have left, Bob.
Yeah, well,
I'm not sure exactly how I got here, after all these years. It's been an incredible ride, and I'm going to enjoy it until the very end.
Well, you have a brand new life, though, don't you?
I do.
And it really shows in your work. Geez, a whiz. You have a lot of energy. You're 77, I'm 75, and you have one hell of a lot more energy than I do up there on the stage.
Well, you gotta take care of every second. Time really is the only currency that we have. Even Bill Gates and even Zuckerberg can't buy 1 second of time.
That's for sure.
And I'm optimistic about the future, but at the same time, I think we may have passed the tipping point on climate change.
Oh, yeah.
And I think the future is going to be very, very interesting.
Yes, we're all going to have to look out for each other. That's for damn sure.
Yes, we are.
Now, we've talked about this on previous interviews, but it's a deep topic, so here goes again. How does music expand consciousness? And I also want to know how painting and drawing affect your writing or your music. Do you find all these art forms intertwined in your creative flow?
Yes, they're all intertwined. And it's because I never have had like writer's block or anything like that, because if writing songs is not happening, then I'm going to paint. And if painting's not happening, I'm going to sculpt. And if sculpting's not happening, I'm going to go on to other things in my life. I just feel as if I'm an incredibly lucky man. And
well, I want to go back. Have you had any so-called paranormal or metaphysical experiences that have convinced you of a deeper reality?
I was peaking on LSD at one point, and I passed a small church. And outside the church was, do you know what a beefeater is?
Yes, sir, I do.
Those people that take care of the Tower of London in the red uniforms.
Yes.
Well, there was a guy dressed like that outside the church, and he had a tray in his hand. And I was high, of course, and I'm looking at this man, and he goes, "Here you go." And I'm not quite understanding what he means. And on this tray in his hand were small horn beakers of water and small pieces of bread. And he looked at me and he said, outside this church for the last 400 or 500 years, anyone that passes has the right to have a drink of water and sustenance in the form of bread. And I looked at him and I wasn't quite grokking what was going on. And he said, "What's the matter? Don't you know it's just okay to be?"
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very profound thing that was said to me, a very tender moment in my life.
Yeah.
It's just okay to be.
Right. Well,
here I am.
I know.
There you are.
Indeed, of course. But stuff like that is powerful. It really is, and is extremely important to we artists. And you're being an artist, you already know that kind of stuff, and you do it automatically. Yeah. Well, I want to thank you for joining us here on 21st Century Radio.
You're very welcome.
I greatly appreciate it.
It was good talking to you. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. That was Graham Nash, who will be playing at the Bethel Woods Performing Arts Center in October, the original site of the Woodstock Festival. So get your tickets now at grahamnash.com. And look for the animated and updated Teach Your Children video made with Jeff Scher on YouTube, and visit www.grahamnash.com. After a break, we'll be joined by Patrick Colucci, another Woodstock veteran who has written a screenplay called Woodstock Redemption. Find out what the iconic hippie festival looked like from the point of view of a seminary student. Don't go away.